Conservatives would abolish business rates for small businesses on the high street.
Mr. Speaker, we're working with the sector.
I asked him if he understood the impact of his own policy. He didn't say yes. He's already agreeing with us on digital ID. Why doesn't he make it a hat trick and abolish business rates for the high street? He says no one's going to listen to us. Who's going to listen to him? I've come to the conclusion it's worth rolling the dice on a new leader. They're right, aren't they?
Mr. Speaker, we're working with this sector.
Didn't hear an apology. I didn't hear an apology to the farmers. Has he even apologised to the member for Penrith, who stood up for farmers only to have the whip removed?
And they left the country screwed.
Mr. Speaker, the Prime Minister doesn't need to worry about me. I'm all right.
Yesterday, Keir Starmer had a complete meltdown at Prime Minister's questions. Not a bad day, not a rough session. A total, catastrophic collapse where he couldn't answer basic questions about his own policies and ended up screaming at MPs like a cornered animal. Watch his face as multiple MPs attack from every angle. Watch him lose control as simple yes or no questions turn into incomprehensible rants about the Conservatives. Watch a Prime Minister who's supposed to lead 67 million people prove he can't even lead a debate. In 2 minutes, I'll show you the exact moment he completely lost it. But first, you need to see how this disaster started, because it reveals everything about why this man is destroying Britain. It started with a simple question from a backbencher. Not Kemi. Not even a Conservative frontbencher. A nobody MP asking about farmer inheritance tax. Prime Minister, a constituent of mine, fourth-generation farmer. Just calculated inheritance tax bill will be 680,000. He earns a 32,000 a year. How is he supposed to pay that? Simple question. Real person. Basic arithmetic. Any competent leader answers in 30 seconds. Starmer's response. 3 minutes of waffle about treasury analysis and supporting rural communities and difficult decisions. Everything except the number. The MP tried again. Prime Minister, I didn't ask for your justifications. I asked how a man earning 32,000 pays 680,000. Basic math. Can you answer? And here's where you see the crack forming. Starmer's face tightens. His voice gets sharper. I've answered the question. If the honourable member doesn't like the answer, that's not my problem. The chamber stirred. Because that's not an answer. That's a tantrum. That's a Prime Minister who's been asked a question he can't answer, so he's attacking the questioner instead. You know what that means, right? He knew right then that this PMQs was going to destroy him. He could feel the trap closing. And he had no escape. Mainstream media will cut this down to sanitized clips that hide the full meltdown. Subscribe right now so you see every squirm, every dodge, every moment of his collapse they try to bury. Hit subscribe. Kemi Badenoch stood up and you could see in Starmer's body language that he knew what was coming. He slouched slightly, his jaw clenched. He was already defeated before she even spoke. Prime Minister, that was a simple question with a simple answer. How does a farmer earning for 1,000 tax bill? Yes or no, is that possible? Brutal. Direct. No escape route. Just answer the question. Starmer started rambling about asset values and wealth distribution. Kemi cut him off. Prime Minister, you're doing it again. You can't answer because the answer is no. It's impossible. Which means your policy forces that farmer to sell his land. Which means his family farm dies. Just admit it. The Tory benches erupted. The Speaker called for order. And Starmer just sat there, mouth opening and closing like a fish, unable to form a coherent response. Finally, he managed. The Honourable Lady is misrepresenting the policy. That's it. That's all he had. No explanation of how the math works. No defence of the policy. Just you're wrong without proving it. Kemi leaned forward. So the math is wrong. For 3.2 million asset value, 20% inheritance tax or allowances that doesn't equal 40,000. Prime Minister, are you claiming basic arithmetic is misrepresenting your policy? Silence. Complete silence. Because she just trapped him with mathematics. Either the calculation is correct and his policy destroys farms, or he's claiming that 20% of a 3.2 million isn't the 640,000, which makes him enumerate. But wait till you see what happened next, because this is where he completely snaps. Another Conservative MP stood up, not coordinated, just sensing weakness and piling on. Prime Minister, on immigration, you promised to reduce numbers. Instead, net migration is higher than under the Conservatives. When will you admit you've failed? Simple question. Factual claim. Easy to address if you have a plan. Starmer exploded. I am sick and tired of this party pretending they care about immigration when they're the ones who broke the system. 14 years of failure, and now they want to lecture me about 6 months. His voice was raised. His finger was jabbing. The Speaker had to intervene to calm him down. But the damage was done, because that response just proved he has no answer. When you're accused of failing and your response is to scream about the previous government, you're admitting you've got nothing. The MP tried again, quieter this time. Prime Minister, I didn't ask about the Conservatives. I asked about your promise. You said you'd reduce immigration. It's higher. That's a fact. What's your plan? Starmer, still furious. We're implementing a comprehensive strategy that will take time to show results. Translation, we have no plan. We're hoping you forget we promised this. You know what that means, right? He's not governing, he's surviving. Day by day, PMQs by PMQs, just trying to get through without admitting he's lost control. Now here's where it gets insane. A Labour backbencher stood up, his own party, someone who's supposed to support him. Prime Minister, constituents are asking why we cut winter fuel payments for pensioners but found a $3.4 billion for the Chagos Islands deal. Can you explain the logic? The chamber went silent, because this wasn't the opposition, this was friendly fire. And Starmer's face showed he knew it. He tried to laugh it off. I think my honourable friend might have his numbers confused. Wrong move. The Labour MP shot back, I'm not confused, Prime Minister. OBR data shows $3.4 billion over decades for Chagos. Winter fuel savings were $1.5 billion. That's the math. Can you explain why foreign spending outweighs pensioners freezing? Starmer's jaw clenched again. His answer was a mess of geopolitical strategy and fiscal responsibility and long-term commitments. The Labour MP sat down, looking unsatisfied. And every other Labour backbencher suddenly found their shoes very interesting, because they saw what just happened. Their own Prime Minister couldn't justify his choices to his own party. If he can't convince Labour MPs, how's he supposed to convince the country? Remember that farmer with the $60-80 tax bill? In 48 hours, we're releasing his full story with documents proving Labour's numbers are lies. Subscribe so you don't miss it when we expose them. Join over 6,000 Brits who refuse to accept these lies. We're exposing every failure they try to hide. Subscribe right now and turn on notifications because next video drops in 48 hours with leaked documents. Question after question, Starmer deteriorated. It wasn't just that he couldn't answer, it's that he got worse with each failure. Ukraine troop deployment. I'm not going to comment on operational security. Translation, I don't want to tell you. Lists. We inherited a broken system. Translation, not my fault. Business investment fleeing UK. Global economic headwinds. Translation, nothing to do with my policies. Public sector strikes. We're in constructive dialogue. Translation, we've caved to unions and don't want to admit it. Every question. Every single question. Either deflection, blame, or meaningless jargon. Zero concrete answers. Zero evidence that he has any plan beyond hoping problems solve themselves. And the MPs could smell it. They weren't even coordinating attacks. They were just piling on because he was defenceless. Like sharks circling blood in the water. One Tory MP asked about crime statistics. Starmer started strong. Crime is down since we took office. But the MP had the data ready. Prime Minister, that's because you changed the reporting methodology. Knife crime is up 20%. Shoplifting is up 24%. Violent assaults are up 8%. Stop manipulating statistics. Starmer had nothing. He mumbled something about police recruitment and community programs. The MP just laughed. Actually laughed at him. In Parliament. And Starmer couldn't do anything but sit there and take it. Now here's where it gets Sam, because his final answer of the session revealed just how broken he is. Last question. Traditional softball from a Labour MP to let the PM end on a high note. Does the Prime Minister agree that this government is delivering on its promises to the British people? Easy. Take a victory lap. List some achievements. End strong. Starmer stood up. And for a moment you could see him trying to compose himself, trying to find the confidence to deliver a strong closing statement. He opened his mouth. And what came out was pathetic. Mr. Speaker, this government has made difficult decisions that the previous government refused to make. We're cleaning up their mess. We're fixing their failures. And despite constant attacks from an opposition with no credibility, we're delivering for working people. That's it. His big closing statement. Blame the Tories. Attack the opposition. Claim you're delivering without specifying what. Zero specifics. Zero achievements listed. Zero inspirational vision. Just defensive. Bitter finger pointing. The Speaker called time. PMQs ended. And Starmer practically fled the chamber. Not walked. Fled. Like he couldn't get out fast enough. Compare that to 6 months ago, when he first walked in as Prime Minister, confident, smiling, ready to lead. Now he's a shell, a broken man who can't answer basic questions and lashes out when cornered. You know what that means, right? He's not going to survive. Not politically. Not emotionally. He's already defeated. The job has already broken him. And everyone can see it. This isn't just about one bad PMQ session. This is about what it reveals. When a Prime Minister can't answer basic questions about his own policies, he's not governing. He's improvising. He's making decisions without understanding consequences. That farmer's $6 or $80,000 tax bill. Starmer genuinely didn't know how to answer because he doesn't understand how farm finances work. The policy sounded good in a Treasury meeting. Tax the wealthy, raise revenue. But nobody bothered to check if farmers are actually wealthy or just asset, rich and cash poor. Immigration rising despite promises. He doesn't have a plan to fix it. He just hoped tough rhetoric would make people forget he promised results. Winter fuel cuts while spending billions on Chagos. He didn't think people would compare the numbers. He assumed voters are stupid. But voters aren't stupid. And MPs representing those voters aren't letting him escape anymore. Every PMQs, the attacks get sharper. Every session, he has fewer answers. Every week, more of his own party starts wondering if they backed the wrong horse. And here's the terrifying part. We're only 6 months in. He's got 4.5 years left minimum. At this rate, by year 2, he'll be completely non-functional. By year 3, his own party will be openly plotting against him. This isn't sustainable. You can't govern a country when you can't answer questions about your own policies. You can't lead when every public appearance is a humiliation. You can't survive when your own MPs are turning on you. If you're watching Starmer collapse in real time and want to see every moment of his destruction, share this video everywhere. Send it to everyone who voted for change and got chaos instead. Mainstream media won't show his full meltdown. Make them irrelevant by sharing this now. Yesterday, Keir Starmer had his worst PMQs yet. He couldn't answer basic questions. He screamed at critics. He deflected blame. He fled the chamber like a defeated mime. This isn't a blip. This is the pattern. Every week, more questions he can't answer. Every session, more proof he's out of his depth. Every appearance, more evidence that Britain elected someone who talks like a leader but governs like an amateur. That farmer still doesn't know how he's supposed to pay 60 to 80,000 on a 32,000 salary. Immigration is still rising despite promises. Winter fuel is still cut while billions go overseas. And Starmer still has no answers. Just blame. Just deflection. Just hoping the next PMQs doesn't destroy him worse than the last one. Subscribe so you see every moment of his collapse. Comment which failure shocked you most. Share this with everyone who needs to know that Britain's Prime Minister is broken. Because Starmer's counting on you not paying attention. On his disasters getting buried in 24-hour news cycles. On you forgetting what he promised versus what he delivered. Don't let him escape. Watch every PMQs, document every failure. Demand he answers the questions he dodges. He's already beaten. Now make sure everyone knows it.